All right, we need to identify more techniques on taming your self-talk here. As musicians and creative types, we have the little voice in our head, and it's often doubtful. And just to recall from my experiences, growing up and dealing with this, you have to go back to the first time you played music. And for me, that time was just magical. My family didn't realize much that I had a musical ear, started playing, and the joy of creating, all right, it's just struck me like lightning. I couldn't stop. I just had to create, just a need of just fooling around on the piano and making little songs. It was joyful. But then, as we've all experienced, school gets into the picture. And now for most of you, say 80 or 90%, music now becomes a chore, like homework. And you get graded. Maybe you had a piano teacher come in and you had to practice once a week. And now maybe, you're saying, I got to complete this song. I have to work on things, which is fine. All right. There's learning to be had here. But then say something happens to where a week wasn't long enough to learn the piece. Your piano teacher says, what happened here? How come you didn't learn it? I gave you a week and this didn't happen. And, now doubtful thoughts start to arise in your head. And this self-talk, it's really hard to get rid of because think of all the programming you went through as a youth. It gets stacked up. And so by the time you're later in life, reapproaching the instrument, wanting to learn again, you never dealt with all that stuff from before. So negative thinking happens very quickly. So the best way to do it is this. First step, acknowledge that it's not all entirely your fault. Programming did this to you. School, people around you telling you difficult things that were not true about your creativity. For me, especially, I couldn't read music, and that was a main stumble block for me, not being able to join the band in school, or people telling me, hey, you're not a real musician unless you read music. Till this day, it's difficult. So remember, what people plant and say to you can affect you later on. That's a big one. So the next step now is, how do I let this stuff go? Well, first, you have to be very mindful of when this self-talk creeps up. A thought could be very quick. It could say it to your mind so fast that you don't even realize what just happened, and then you feel the effect of it. Oh, I'm just a beginner. This is not, it's going to take me forever. Okay, so you may be feeling the emotion of it, but not being able to trace the thought. This is where you need some type of practice to actually slow down how quick the thought happens. Any meditation practice helps a ton. So once you're able to be more aware of these quick thoughts that fire off, then you could tackle them and get rid of them. So a main one is, I'm too old. By the time I finish learning this piece, time will have gone by, the parade will gone by, and I've missed being able to enjoy music. Nobody's going to care. I never learned it. Super common. Okay, so the first step is saying, well, is that really true? Does it have any basis in reality? Well, the truth is, what happens when you believe that thought is that you rush through the material. And then now you're fortifying that thought to be true. When you rush through material, now you're really fortifying that you're never going to get it done. You're never going to practice thoroughly. So the main fear of this is going slower. You mean if I take my time and hang on as long as it takes to learn a piece correctly, the parade will pass me by. Analyze that thought there. Do you really think that taking your time is a waste of time? You've tried the latter. You've practiced and rushed through material, and months, maybe years have passed by and you haven't noticed any progress. So, some critical thinking here. Think about that. Have you ever really gotten anything done? Now, if you slow down your practice, and we're going to take your time for the first time, I think you'll notice some improvement. But you have to lower the bar here. If you could only learn 4 measures of music within a week really well, I consider that a huge win. So any small amount of material that's learned really well, and I mean really well as in not thinking about it. You know, I could talk and play this song at the same time because I did the work, right? I played it very slow first. But over a time period, it became effortless. So this is where you want to go. Practice slow, and it'll be effortless. But then you're probably saying, well, how do I do that? If I try to learn that, the whole song, it'll take me 5 years. Then, when that happens, see, the mind comes back and says, that'll take me forever. It'll never get done. That's the self-talk I'm talking about. It's going to fire right back. So you need to recenter yourself. Whatever it takes, take a walk, meditate, take your hands off the instrument and get back into the space. You need to reprogram this thinking. And here's the tough one to take, is that this reprogramming is not going to be an overnight thing. It's going to take a while, all right? If you've gone through years of this, expect it to at least take a year for anything really to improve. But you know what? If you stick with this within a year, I bet your results will be massive and you will have greatly improved your thinking. Stick with it. I'm telling you from experience that this is the way I got through this. So enjoy, take it slow, and watch your mind.